Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and all between the binary. This is Get Informed with Wajeeh. This is Wajeeh Lion. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you for coming. I took a minute to prepare myself, organize, make sure everything is ready to give you better content instead of just going right away. This way, when we are live and going live, um, things go a little smoother, right? Made myself a cup of coffee, made sure I take some of my meds. I gotta do the basics first. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Invite your friends over. Click those heart buttons for me. That's amazing. I'm good. Thank you for asking. Someone the other day was asking me a very personal question. He said, is there a reason why you are not Muslim? Did you ever believe in God? Yes, I definitely believed in God. And yes, I grew up as a very, very conservative Muslim. But there comes a time that you experience a lot of violence and in your own faith. I also was essentially in a cult like type of part of Islam. Uh, my parents wanted me to become a religious fighter. This gave me a lot of access into the mindset and the ideology of the extremist Muslim. And I studied Sharia. I memorized the Quran, not all of the Quran. Studied Hadith, became like knowledgeable in some ways regarding Islam. But I no longer believe in that because it's just too hard to follow something after you experience the worst of it. And every time I try to go to a mosque after those experiences, after I came out, after had a chance to think about everything I've experienced, it was very hard for me to go to the mosque anytime and every time because it was no longer about meditating or worshiping. It was about re-experiencing those traumas. And I've seen where many other people were asked to go and be part of the extremist ideology. A lot of Muslims are not don't even know what that extremist ideology is. I was just unfortunate to have been there. Fortunately for you guys, I'm an atheist. Fortunately for you guys, I specialize in anti-terrorism and Islamic extremism. Fortunately for you guys, I am trying to educate on how to fight back that type of extremism. And I'm a little biased, I would say, but this is, the path I'm taking, and this is how I am, fighting back against the extremist ideology that I have experienced because I'm an expert about it at this point. Um, but that's like why I'm an atheist. That's why I don't follow religion because I've been in a cult. I've been an extremist, uh, you know, extremist Islamic household. And when you do all of that together, even if you try to go to another faith, you start noticing a lot of the similarities, and that becomes an absolute turnoff right away. I'm spiritual. I'm just not. I just I don't have religion. So that's a different topic. But yesterday, later in the day, thank you for asking, and I just figured, I would like to address that, since a lot of people have been asking, and I don't mind answering that question. Yesterday, I published an article after I found out that Israel built a military base in Iraq. When you first hear that, you're like, wait, Israel made a military base inside Iraq under the nose of the Iraqi government? No one knew about it? That's very interesting, isn't it? Israeli government really knows how to cross some boundaries, don't they? So I figured this is something worth investigating. The forensics verification, after you investigate, and after I investigated, confirmed that the Israeli Defense Forces has deployed a forward, clandestine forward operation located within the Iraqi desert. So the Israelis said, we need to get inside Iraq. Not only we need to be inside Iraq, we're not going to be doing, you know, anything with the Iraqis. We need to make our own military base without anyone knowing. The facility was established under the Israeli Third Circle, which is a military doctrine that categorizes Iran as a direct external military at this enemy. I'm having a hard time enunciating things today. The doctrine essentially established that the IDF, from an isolated proxy, strikes forward a comprehensive framework of a long range primitive attacks or primitive solutions. That is very smart, many words to say that we think that Iran is so far away and we feel like our soldiers might fuck up at some point and get in danger. And the Iranian government is so far away that we need to find somewhere in between to intervene anytime something happens. This site functioned as an essential logistical and combat search and rescue hub during the February 26 air defense or air campaign against Iran. In Operation Epic Fury and Roaring Lion, this hub played an essential role in helping the logistical efforts of the U.S. Israeli attacks on Iran. The logistical efforts would have been very long if the Israeli government haven't done that. The operational distance between domestic Israeli air bases and Iranian nuclear ballistic missile Iranian nuclear facilities or ballistic missiles facilities. The distance of all of these facilities would be about 1,500 to 1,800 kilometers. That's quite the distance. This is not something that you could do within 1 hour. That is a 4.5 to 5.5 hours flight with one of your fastest jets. That is a very long window for the Israeli government to conduct any combat search and rescue. So if any of the American soldiers or US soldiers get in trouble, it would be too long of a flight for the Israelis to send anything to help their soldiers. So they made a base inside the desert of Iraq that would cut that distance and only be 600 to 700 kilometers away. Let's do some administration while you're here. I would appreciate if you click the share button. Invite your friends to join us. We're discussing some important story that is not covered much on the news. Not a lot of people talking about it, and I figured it is worth your time to know what is happening and what is playing on the ground in details when it comes to the US Israeli war in the Middle East on Iran and Lebanon. Let the algorithm know that you like this type of content. Destroy that heart button at the bottom. Thank you very much. If you're watching on this on YouTube, you're too late. Come to Substack. But while you're there, like, subscribe, and share and comment. So, being in Iraq, desert, and being only 600 to 700 kilometers away, that cuts down the travel time from 4 to 5.5 hours to 2.5 hours. That is more reasonable for any Israeli combat search and rescue operation to happen in Iran. We're analyzing this. We're analyzing why Israel would have a military base in Iraq. No one is telling you this information. The satellite imagery verified the construction of a 1.5 kilometer dirt runway. This 1.5-kilometer threshold is the precise length required for a tactical military transit aircraft such as the C-130J Super Hercules. They don't do something more than they have to. They make specific measurements. 1.7 kilometers precisely. These logistical assets inserted Unit 669, which is a term. 669 is a term that is used for forward area refueling. Sorry, 669 is a code used for search and rescue. That's one thing that have inserted in there. And then the second thing that they have inserted in there is the forwarding area refueling points. Because US and Israeli aircrafts, Israel in particular, have to go all the way from Israel, cut in through the Middle East, and then go all the way to Iran. At some point, these planes need to refuel. That hub in Iraq played an essential role in refueling capabilities for the Israeli government. The Israeli government achieved the undetectable transit by deploying advanced military-grade electronic attack system. Highly likely that the Israeli industry, they use the Israeli aerospace industry. Why they use the Israeli aerospace industry? Because they have the technology necessary to block any of the radar system that the Iraqi government have. They also cut the communication from any close Iraqi military uh, soldiers. So, like, if any soldiers gets close and try to communicate with command, they wouldn't have any access to that communication because Israeli government has dismantled it with their system. The system utilized a multi-beam capability to systematically jam the Iraqi primary surveillance radar, military communication network, and civilian GPS, making the process of stealth fighting and combat search and rescue easier for Israel and the United States. On March 4th, this whole operation, I'm here. No, nothing's frozen. I don't say ah. So when I am thinking, I stay quiet. Something I learned from Obama. Or I try not to say ah. The operation was compromised on the night of March 4th when group of tribes a group of tribes detected unusual wing activities.
They have communicated with the government, and the Iraqi regular army unit mobilized and crossed the final defense perimeter established by the Israeli special forces. So the Bedouins or the tribes found out about it because how that's how you usually find out about it. Funny thing is because that's exactly what Malcolm Nance said in the beginning when I started becoming a guest on his talk show. You said usually the way people find out about these type of special uh, operations is is not the military or the government. It's some random tribe or some random guy walking by noticing the situation and communicating with the government. Guess what? This is an example. Again, we tell you we are not joking around. So the IDF command authorized immediate lethal force to protect their sensitive assets regarding the combat, search, and rescue, and the other things that we mentioned earlier. So, what happened next was advanced Israeli combat helicopters intervened to force the Iraqi military to retreat. Israeli special forces conducted lethal attacks on the Iraqi military. And that kinetic engagement provided the IDF critical time to launch transport aircraft to recover personnel, dismantle electronic arrays, and sanitize, meaning clear out, make sure you don't leave anything important or you dig it under the ground so it's hard to find. Um, the sanitize the runway, destroy the runway before Iraqi forces can come and secure the runway on March 6th. So we found out about them on March 4th, and the Iraqi government wasn't able to secure anything about the runway until March 6th. Prior to the engagement, the theater, when I mean the theater, I mean the war between the US, Israel, Iran, Iraq, Lebanon, for the ceasefire was very, very fragile. So everyone's Nash equilibrium, and what I mean by Nash equilibrium is like best choice to make for their own personal use. Where Israel, Iraq, and the United States and Iran all benefit from being silent about them finding out that there is an Israeli military base in Iraq. Following this public exposure, for example, the Iraqi government did not go out and blame Israel. No, they did not even mention Israel. They said went out after the United States. How dare you, USA? Why do you come in and destroy our country? How dare you take our sovereignty away? They did not mention anything about the US. It does not look good for them that the Iraqi forces did not know about the Israeli base, and when they found out about it, they couldn't do anything about it. So, they did that to avoid the public backlash, essentially. So, Iranian government used its military proxies to escalate the operation against the U.S. intelligence at that time. Until now, the United States maintains a plausible deniability and says that they have nothing to do with the whole situation. And in the same time, they're warning, like as they're saying, we have nothing to do with this. They're like issuing a warning to Baghdad. If you do anything, we will destroy you. Motherfucker, then you did something. You did something. You say Wall Street, I'm not sure of the source. Again, I don't like clicking on links. Could you just tell me what it says? What do you think Trump's real reason to visit China is? Multiple things. His personal business. He wants to hug Xi. He would maybe they get to kiss, but we don't get to see that. And then he would really enjoy the military parade. He would love being treated as an emperor. Gets to try some, rare Chinese food. Maybe try some Chinese McDonald's, and then say that look, we made some big deals with China that he was responsible for closing to begin with. He wants to take at least a win with the farmers and get some soybeans sold back to China. China. And then he would love to, beg China to ask Iran to give up on some stuff. Maybe China will promise him, a Trump Tower if he backs down from this war. Uh, but China has the upper hand. China has the upper hand. I hope that answers your question. Question. Any other questions, guys? The group chat is available. If you don't mind, go to the group chat, putting your questions there. While you're listening, thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead and share this live stream with your friends and family. I know it's a Tuesday. It's probably Taco Tuesday for many of you, and maybe for the White House. Your support means everything to us. Without you, we wouldn't be here today. So take a minute. support us, write the question in the group chat. Maybe ask your friends to subscribe. Today, this is subscribers only. So you don't even have to be a paid subscriber. You just have to be a subscriber. I figured I should try it out. Saw Malcolm doing it. I said, why not me too? Maybe we get more people to join us. It's not that hard to subscribe, you know? It's not hard to click a heart button. If you want to learn something, you're not going to offend me by your questions. When I was at Kansas State University, I was asked to participate in culture education for the leadership department at the university. And my job was to answer hard questions about Islam that people didn't want to answer or didn't feel comfortable answering or people didn't feel comfortable asking. So I used to come in and I say, I have $50. If you ask me a question that offends me, I will give you that $50. This is just to say that seriously, like phobias come from fear, and fear comes from not having enough information a lot of times. And not having a lot of information a lot of times means that you have been having a hard time learning about it. And I'm trying to break that barrier. So let's work together. Yeah, no, I'm not talking about everyone. Did you finish your Tai Chi statement this morning? No, no, it's okay. I was asked how is my health. I've had a rough health situation. I had a racist doctor in Kansas City that resulted in a staph infection and purposely tortured me without getting you guys some details. I ended up with PIC line twice and had 10 surgeries on my right wrist. Because of that, I have, injured my left shoulder while recovering from my right hand. And that happened during work. And now, I'm recovering from another surgery. But the we were talking about how long it takes to recover and stuff, and that's about it. That's the statement. Trump is not mentally competent to negotiate with anyone. I didn't say that. This is your comment. Trump, we love you. I love you, Trump. Don't please. Th- this person said it, not me. We do not mess with Trump. He is our supreme leader. Please respect Trump from now on. Please respect the supreme leader. Can China influence Iran? They have some influence over Iran, but Iran needs China, and China needs Iran. China gets its oil from Iran. Iran gets a lot of its products from China, including things that they use for producing military uh, weapons. You have learned so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. That's the whole goal. My whole point is to help people learn about the Middle East without feeling shame. Did the UAE attack Iran? According to some sources, yes. The Gulf states are preparing themselves, and and part of preparing also means like Iran, please don't attack us. We have nothing to do with this. We love you, Iran. We will keep our diplomats with you. Iran, we promise we don't want the US to use our airspace. In fact, I told the US today, don't use our airspace. Please, please don't attack us. That's one of the preparing. They're also, getting some weapons here, getting some stuff from Ukraine, getting, Pakistan is in Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan has some of its Air Force uh, jets there. And that is basically to point out to Iran is like, please don't attack Iran because then we have to attack you. So that's, some preparing from Saudi Arabia. The UAE is, becoming more hawkish. Unfortunately, uh, they are going the more expensive route. They have switched their strategy from being we seek no problem from any neighbor to becoming one of the most hawkish Gulf states that ever existed. They have strengthened their alliances with Israel. Israel sent the Iron Dome, uh, but that is really expensive. That all is very expensive, and it's going to cost UAE a lot of money. One of the most important things about the United Arab Emirates is that it had nothing to do with conflict, which made it very easy and comfortable for Westerners to go and visit, which made it very easy for investments to come in, which made it very easy for people to move there and become permanent residents. Now that's all gone to the shithole, and the UAE economy is in danger. So they think that they could bring an end to the war by attacking Iran even more, which is a big mistake in my own opinion, and a wrong calculation in the leadership of the UAE. Meanwhile, Oman is like, we got nothing to do with this, baby. We are against this war. We don't like this war. We don't support Trump. We don't give Trump any access to anything. We helped in the peace negotiation and Trump betrayed us. So Oman has nothing. Kuwait is also following in the Saudi footsteps. I hope that answers your question. Why did the UAE attack Iran? Because they want to end the Iranian capabilities. They also have reserved the right to attack whenever they want regarding their own national interests. Iran has hit sent thousands and thousands of rockets and uh, drones toward the United Arab Emirates, and that made a lot of damage there. And legally, on national law, international law, UAE has reserved the right to respond. They get to. Is that smart decision? That's a different conversation. Not every legal decision has to be a smart decision. Someone is saying in order for me to post something on the group chat, they have to leave or exit the live stream. I have showed that you could leave the live stream without pressing end, and that's by going to the side of the left of your screen, taking your finger and swiping it to the right. And as you do that, the screen drops to the bottom, and you get to click on the group chat and write your message. It shouldn't be some older phones have more difficulties than other, but the trick is to take your finger from the left to the right, from the left edge to the right edge, and the whole screen will drop to the bottom, and then you can click on the group chat, write your question while you're still in the live stream. I'm sorry if that's not it's not difficult. I'll bring this much closer so I could pay attention to any questions that you guys are writing as well, so I can have a closer eye, huh? Is that I hope this is okay, huh? That's okay. Write your questions here. I will read it. If you can't get it to work, write your question. And before you click enter, copy it and type it. If you copy it before you click enter, you can paste it again several times. So if I miss it, I can find it again. Appreciate your patience with me. General Cayenne told the senator that Iran needed to think very hard about using its small boats to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed. Does that mean that we don't have anything to counter these little boats? So if for example, if you have 100 boats and they come at one time toward one ship, you can take out a few of them, but you're not going to be able to take them all out. And that's like the main thing. The question is, I have found that I need to hit share button in the live stream and get the main screen to hit the chat button. Interesting. That is helpful. When do we run out of gas? In September now. We run out of gas within a few weeks. We run out of gas in a few weeks. We're starting to run out of gas now. Other questions? Write your questions down. I'm telling you, I'm reading it. I am also going, and someone's like, how can we safely hoard gas at home? That's a very good question. Usually in safe gas containers. Um, the there is and if you could store it under the ground, that is even better in a safe storage. Not like in the basement. I mean, like under the ground, like what you see gas stations do. They don't store the gas out in the air. They store it out in the under the ground, where air is very hard to get to, where sparks are very hard to get to, where penetrating the gas is very hard to get to. But when you store it in the ground, you're gonna have to find something underground safe, where you can dig the dirt out and put it in there. That is the safest way to store it that I know of as an Arab that deals with gas. If you don't want something to blow up and destroy your house and stuff like that, and you're afraid of fire, you buy underground safe containers and you fill it up and you put uh, it's if it depending on the size. Some sizes are too big, so you dig it up and you put the container in there, and if it's really big, then you can't even transport it. Then you just need to put it in the ground, and then you buy the gas and you fill it up. If you want to send me a mug, send me a message in the DM, and I'll help you guys figure it out. Oh, I love pottery. I used to do a lot of pottery in high school. Very big appreciation. And Arabs use a lot of unglazed pottery, especially for having cool water in the summer. So, especially red clay pottery, we would make a big jar, and that jar has a metal standing that it sits on a little higher, and we keep it unglazed so the water seeks a little out, and when the wind hits that, you end up having very cold water. You don't even need electricity for it. You can have it in the middle of this desert, cool water. It tastes a little clay, but it's good. I moved to the U.S. back in 2005. Someone says I like the taste. More questions. Awesome. Water desalination plants still at risk? Yes, they're absolutely at risk. And if Iran gets hit with its essential targets, that's one of the you know trump cards that they have against the Gulf nations and the United States. Is the UAE making a mistake? Yes, they're absolutely making a mistake. Why are we so eagerly meeting Israel objectives? The United States has been doing that for more than 50 years. Been doing that before I was born, before my dad was born. I don't know why. Um, what I know is that some far right evangelicals believe if that they support Israel become its own independent country and expand, that would make it faster for the Messiah to come out, which makes it faster for the day of judgment. And I'm sitting like, motherfucker, why are you in a hurry for the day of judgment? Why are you in a hurry for the day of judgment? Why are you in a hurry for the Messiah? What's up with that? Relax, my friend, relax. Are you sure you're ready to meet your God? Really, really, you Christians that want to bring the end of the world because of the Messiah and all these religious ideas. Your God may be the one judging you more than anyone in this room. You want to start the day of judgment? Everyone is waiting not to meet the day of judgment. You want to start the day of judgment? What kind of mentality do you guys have? Yes, they are. I'm not joking. That is something we studied it in college as the history books. That's that evangelical Christians that want the end of the the world to come, that wants the day of judgment, that wants the Messiah to come out, that want the return of Jesus or something. That they support Israel because it will help them build an independent state, which they will think then comes the Messiah to shut the Israelis down. Crazy thinking. There's no conspiracy. We studied this in school. This is the reality of the situation. This is the reality of uh, 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 sometimes I'm out of words. If you know what I know, you'd be out of words too. Wait, people think they're gonna go to heaven automatically. You're supporting a genocide. You think you're going to heaven automatically? You don't think, you know, I heard a story one time and the imam was saying it. No, it wasn't an imam. It was a Coptic father. Coptics are older than Catholics. They're the original Catholics from the Middle East. So the Coptic was telling us a story, you know. He was saying one time I was teaching and I had a student coming, with a question. He says, "You think everyone will go to heaven?" And the father goes, "What do you think, my son?" He goes, "You see, I think God will meet everyone, hit them in the back of the head and tell them, go to heaven. Why did you do this? In the back of the head, go to heaven. Why did you do that? Back of the head, go to heaven." I also once personally met a rabbi. He was a very wise rabbi. I was like, "Do you convince me to become, Jewish?" His answer was shocking to me. He said, "No." I said, "What?" He said, "You can go to heaven without being Jewish." How? He said, "You just be a good person. Do not kill. Do not hurt others. Do not steal. Be honorable. The basic stuff. And in the day of judgment, God will give you heaven." In the meantime, I see people doing stupid shit, trying to get to the day of judgment, and their mistakes may be the one they're not going to heaven. If there was a day of judgment, if there is a God, if there's a hell and heaven. Like they're doing stupid. What are you doing? Some senses, please. Some mental. Let me go on. UAE is being allied with to Israel. Why would they do that? For their economic and security apparatus and their belief. They think they're most secure with Israel. Um, and they were the first country to sign the Abrahamic Accord. Do you think anything about French involvement in Lebanon? I mean, they're the previous. They've always been involved in Lebanon, which is really annoying. And they were previous colonizers. Oman used to be like Switzerland, and I think they're still like Switzerland, and they don't like getting in involved, and they were only involved because they were trying to help in the peace talks, and that's about it. They don't want to be military involved, and they don't want to be siding with any side. Oman doesn't want to deal with the Strait of Hormuz. They want. Someone is asking, will Oman reach an agreement with Iran about managing the Strait of Hormuz? And the answers to that is not necessarily no. Oman doesn't want to get into a deal that could put it in conflict with the rest of the world. Nevertheless, they see, they don't want to be part of breaking international law when it comes to maritime traffic. And Iran is being blamed for breaking that maritime law by most of international countries. But that's what's going on. I've been saying them a lot recently. Do you think Alaskan refineries would be targeted? I really hope not, because if they were, that would put a lot of pristine water and natural habitat in direct danger to oil leaks, this would be a horrendous disaster. But nothing is out of reach from the Iranian government at the moment. Gasoline fumes are highly explosive. Cautious caution. I used to work in a burn unit. Yeah, yes, it's not safe to hoard gas. That's why I said I was researching into safe ways of doing it, but the safe way I learned in my home country was having some sort of underground storage, but those underground storage has their own system. They have anti-puncture. They have a way for you to fuel it and unfuel it without you opening it up for air. It's a very specific design that you have to get. It's not the regular thing that you can buy. You don't want air to come out of it. You don't want air sparks to come near it. It's very dangerous. I hope I explained that well, but maybe I didn't. Can international groups, countries, or China stop this war? This war is only in the hands of Iran supreme leader and our supreme leader. America's supreme leader and Iran's supreme leader. They are the only two that can decide the end of this war. His Royal Excellency Donald Trump must be coming with honorable decisions, executive orders meant to raise the United States in public opinion, huh? Raise the United States in power by having all of our weapons used and making more weapons than we've never used. The supreme leader is the person going to make the last decision about who and how we end this war. If he backs out from nuclear deal and agrees uh, to let Iran control the strait, then the Iran supreme leader may agree to our supreme leader, His Royal Excellency. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert on how to store oil. I genuinely that is all I learned as a child, and that's all I know. So I'm not telling you to store it under the ground. I'm telling you that there is resources out there that sell you products that allow you to store oil safely. Look them up. and find them and find something that's suitable for your environment. There are things that are made for very hot temperatures, and other than that, this is not like I'm not legally trying to advise you guys to do anything. This is just what we done in Saudi Arabia. Oh. One ship, I read that one ship got through the Strait of Hormuz carrying LNG. I think you might be thinking about the ship from Qatar that paid the $2 million easy pass to Iran. I think that's the one that you're thinking about. That's it. Qatar is in need to sell their LNG. That's how they make money. Honestly, if the Congress actually ratified a peace treaty, would Iran trust it? That's questionable. What other questions? I will take a nap after this. I'm tired. Someone says thanks for wearing the hats. Yeah, it's fun. I like collecting nice hats. Um yeah, no other questions I see. Malcolm has some really, really like rare stuff, but it's all like in cases and hidden somewhere safe. He's got some rare shit that like you had to be there when it happened during the war in order for you to have access to it. So like you have no idea what he's got. Like he's got some rare shit. How likely is it that we could be stranded at the destination because our return flight this summer? It's very likely. Someone's asking how the likelihood of us getting disconnected from one destination to the other because of lack of oil this summer. Do not be surprised. Like you have no idea when we say like we are historic levels low, below the time that we had the oil embargo. We have never experienced like this in human history. Like, like how many different ways should we put it for you? This is going to be horrible. Horrible. It's going to be a nightmare. People will die, not only get stranded. I would not recommend a cruise either. Unless the cruise has a nuclear reactor. I haven't heard of a cruise with a nuclear reactor. That's a joke, by the way. Someone says, can we do anything other than contact our representatives? Run against them when you can. Sue them for not doing anything. Write and collect signatures to have bills added to your state to house and legislation to stop certain fundings to certain countries. There's a lot you could do. More than you can call, more than you can vote, more than you can challenge your leaders. Challenge your leadership, whether they're Democrat or Republican, whether they're on the right or on the left. The fact that many of them feel safe and comfortable is the main reason nothing is happening. If you don't want to run for office, nominate someone that you trust. Go to that person. You are an amazing leader in our community. You have done amazing things in our community. We want to nominate you to run for office. Could you please do that? That's how originally it used to happen in the United States. And it stopped happening because people who had their own self interest started running for office. And we thought that's the only option out there. That's not. Of course, calling your senator representatives is important, but that's not enough, in my own opinion. That's not enough. And once people have lost everything in the US, that's when a revolution will happen, unfortunately. When the middle class becomes the low class, this when there's going to be an Arab Spring. I'm not saying I want that. I'm predicting what will happen. I'm predicting what will happen. Governor John Carlin asked me that question in 2017, 2016. I gave him the same answer. The next danger to the United States is your income inequality and your middle class losing, becoming the low class. People have nothing to lose. Ask someone that studies countries that fall down all the time. At some point, there will be a revolution if this continues to happen. And as long as the billionaires stop understanding this, the more that they will be a target. I'm not saying I want them to be targets. I'm saying what would happen. I even saw one billionaire realize that one time and tried to talk to other billionaires, like on a show, like, come on, guys, like, really, I've been looking into this. He's looking at the other billionaire. If we don't allow people to get richer, they're going to turn on us. They're starting to understand that. They're starting to realize that. Unfortunately, I'm against violence. I'm against killing people. I've seen public executions personally when I was a child. I know what it looks like. I know what it is. I know the importance of human life. I never advocate for this type of thing. Like, we genuinely don't want bad shit to happen. And I'm giving you all the warnings right now. I said one time I need to buy like a crystal ball because anytime I give you prediction, I need to bring it out and say, this is a prediction I'm going to give you. Any other questions? I'm worried about me too. So it says I worry about you. Anyways, how would Iran, how would you suggest dealing with Iran? Um, like showing them ways that they could, like showing them actions that, hold on, when you see a raging dog, you don't slap that dog. You slow down, you bring a treat, you bring a toy, you bring some water, you try to, it's okay, I'm your friend. You don't go to a raging dog with another like scream. You get attacked. You have caused, you've been, not only this, you've been abusing the dog. So the dog is automatically used to the fact that you are abusing them. This is just an example. I'm not saying is a dog country or anything. I'm just giving an example. When you abuse someone, that someone needs real action from you to show that you have committed wrong and you are apologizing and you won't do it again. You have a lot of work to do. You have a lot of work to do. You can't come in saying, Iran, didn't I tell you you were being bad? Motherfucker, you've been hitting them. You changed their leadership not once, twice. Show them you can trust them. It's not, this is just basic common sense. So sorry. We are wrong. We have done you wrong. We have done you wrong when we took out the first president. We have done you wrong when we have invaded. We should have apologized that when things went wrong. Here we'll help you out with your frozen assets. Um, let's make some peace agreements. Let's agree that there will be no more conflict in the Middle East. Let's agree that there will be no need for more proxies because no one will be attacking you guys. Let's agree. There's a lot of things that you could do. Even if it's too late, listen. The Catholic Church committed horrible crimes, but with the acts of one pope, these crimes almost all went away. I have so much respect for Pope Francis as an atheist, right? As someone that comes from the Middle East. He traveled the world and he went to the minority communities that the Catholic Church has abused and taken away their rights. And he personally apologized and said that they were wrong and begged for their forgiveness. He washed the feet of refugees and asylum seekers. The only pope that I've seen all ethnic groups from all around the world, from all the small tribes, from Native Americans in the north to Native Americans in the South America to Native Americans in the United States, all attended his funeral. They all cried for his death. You can fix this. You can. It's never too late. It just depends on how willing we are to fix it. If we're going to be too proud and not admit our mistake, then no, we're not going to fix it. At some point, we need to admit our mistakes, not from the citizens, from the leadership. I have 7% left in the phone. Who's next? Your last questions. While I'm waiting for another question, please like, subscribe, and share. If you're watching this, subscribe to the channel. You probably are subscribed because today is only for subscribers. And your support is what makes a difference. Please consider becoming a paid subscriber. It pays the bills. It helps us do this full time so you don't have to do it full time. Pays for the treatment, pays for the bills, pays for the housing, pays for everything, the food. Um, I'm doing this full time now and I'm not doing anything else since you guys have been very supportive. I've been very appreciative of your support. So you guys have me now full time instead of someone else having my attention. Um, if you cannot become a paid subscriber or you cannot afford it, don't worry about it. Send me a message in the DM with your email. You do not need to explain your economic situation. All you need to say, or you don't even need to say anything. If you send me an email with a message with the email associated with the account, I will automatically add you to the premium membership. I will assume that's what it's for. I don't ask for an explanation to why you cannot afford it. I just assume that you can't afford it, and I'm willing to gift it to you. There are people out there that is also donating money to for me to give them away as well as me donating them away. It is $5 a month, $35 a year, $300 for VIP. And the $300 for VIP is because some people were asking if they could pay more to support me, and that's only for people who want to support me more. There are other ways that you can support me outside of Substack if you want to. But that's the ways you can support me. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Click the bell button so you could get the latest notifications. And let's see. Yes, you can send me money to help others become paid subscriber. Text me in the DM and we will talk about that. I don't see any other questions that need to be answered. Hold on. UK government. The UK government is falling? That's news. I don't know about the UK government falling. If you don't mind sending me the news source regarding that, I would appreciate it. I'm pretty sure that the majority of global countries at the moment, even first world countries, are going to be really struggling. Not only the United States. That I was only talking to the about the United States because the majority of people here are from the United States, but Korea is South Korea, which is a first world country, is on the verge of breaking. Many other countries that are, barely affording their day-to-day operations, like Egypt, is on the verge of falling. Um, Countries that are just forming newly might be in the danger of falling. Uh, and people are going to be dying because there's no access to food, no access to fertilizers, no access to farming, and that as that happens, as more dangers shit happens. So we'll see. How will people handle the struggle with this craziness? What I know is that humans are resilient and they have survived some of the harshest times. And I assume that they will find a way to survive this as well. The only thing that we're trying to do is minimize the number of victims that uh, um, could be a result of this conflict. So, U.S. sanctions alone every year cause 500,000 deaths, mostly children. Now, what happens if most of this happens because of no resources being available for the globe? Now is the time to form collectives. This is my neighborhood collective. This is my neighborhood farm. This is my neighborhood pharmacy. This is my neighborhood uh, grocery store. This is my neighborhood, uh, uh, and it's all part of a collective. You can't afford this? No worries. Someone else donated it for you. We'll help you out. You can't afford it? Can you afford some piece of the product? Okay, we'll give you a discount on how much you can pay for it. Start having ways where when you spend money, you spend it inside your small community. That way, the money keeps spreading between you guys instead of going outside. Find ways to barter with each other. Today, I have made lettuce. Do you want to barter with me with some tomatoes? Amazing. I'll have some tomato from your farm. I'll give you some lettuce. Barter with each other. Make a neighborhood collective. Now is the time for action. I feel okay. Thank you for asking. The more we find ways to empower each other, the more we are resilient against this disaster that's happening toward us. And the more we focus only on individuals, the more likely that we will end up fighting each other for every small thing. So rethink, share, uh, be part of a community. One thing that I really appreciated being in Saudi Arabia is being part of a tribe. the United States focus so much on individualities that we have forgotten to, create some sort of community. And this is the time for the community to be formed. And that, surprisingly, that will give you a lot of joy. Surprisingly, that will give you hope in the hardest time that you will face in your heart and in your life. Having this type of uh, community is what you need to go get through this hard time. Anyway, my phone is literally 3%. I hope we all have learned something from this. I hope we can reconsider what we can afford to do. I hope that you get to have your own chickens so you can have your own eggs in the morning. I hope that we all become independent from a market that takes all of our finances and spread it to corporate greed that never trickles down to the rest of us. I hope that we all um, come out of this conflict with, no death. I hope, but that's idealistic. I hope that we come out of this conflict soon. But unfortunately, that is only hoping. What we can do is we can prepare. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Like, subscribe, and share.